dictionary is remaining, that is set default. Okay, now what this method does, like, you have to give key and it will return the value of it. Means it does the work of get method we have seen in dictionary at the beginning only when we started dictionary. Then how to access the value. So you can write dictionary square bracket key or dictionary object get, and then you can pass key. Okay, so it does the work like key, like get. You have to give the key and it will return the value of that key. Give key, it will return value. But if the key is absent, okay, then what it will do is it will add this key in your dictionary. Okay, so if the key is absent, it will add it. But then what will be the value for that key which is absent? So this value, which if you don't give, it will take by default none. And if you have given this value, then it will use this value for that key. But when it will use this value for that key, when the key is absent. If it is present, it will just return the value of that key. Okay, returns value of given key. You have to give the key, it will return the value for that key. Means it works like get method only. Okay, but the thing is, when the key is absent, if this key is not present in your dictionary, if key is absent, then what it does is it adds this key and this value as a new key value pair in your dictionary. Getting? And if the value is not given, so it takes by default value as none. Okay, quickly I'll just tell you. Now suppose this is your dictionary, right, x and y, and if you are writing d dot set default and you are giving key, some value also if you give, it's not going to be useful now because the key is present. Okay, let's suppose I give value as test. So now x is already present, so that value what we have given is of no use. It will just return 10. Okay, if you print and see, the dictionary is as it is. But now if I write d dot set default z and test, so now z is absent, so it will add that z in your dictionary with the value test. If you check your dictionary, so in the dictionary z is added with the value test. Getting? D dot set default is there, you're adding p, but you didn't give the default value. Key you have given, but you didn't give the default value to it, then it will take none. Now p is absent in your dictionary, so it will add it, but the value is none. You can check dictionary D. See, p is added with value none. I hope you got it. Very simple behavior it is. See, this is your dictionary. A dot set default y. So y is present, so it will return 20. A dot set default t 60. So t is absent, so it will add it and 60 will act as a default value. And now if you print and see the dictionary, so in that t is added with the value 60. Okay, so I hope you got it. So this was all about the 4 data structures. I hope this 4 data structures you will remember it properly, right? Data structures like list, tuple, dictionary, okay, and set. These were the 4 data structures, right? One method, I guess this I have told you, all method, any method, sorry, built-in function, enumerate, just update me. Maybe not on the slide, but I am sure I have explained you. No, yes?
No. No, sir.
I am sure I have taken, but you are not remembering.
No, we have not taken the enumerate any
least value.
I am 101% sure, but you are not recalling it because it was not on the slide, so maybe you might have not written. I'll just recall it. Let's see you remember or not. Right? If you have a list or a tuple, that time I just recalled what is true, what is false, according to Python 0, 0.0, okay, empty string, 0 plus 0 j, and word false, all are false, and everything other than this is true, right? So if in your list, if there are some values, okay, some values are there, like string is there, and now if I call function all, so it will check whether all are true. If all true, then only it will return true. If anyone is not true, it will return false, right? So 4.5 is true, true is true, but 0 is false, therefore it will return false. Okay? If each and every value is true, like instead of 0 if it is 10, here it is suppose 5 plus 0 j and string ram. And now if I write all and L, so is each and every value true in this list? Are all the values in the list true? Whenever when I completed list, I have taken this method, that is for sure. Only at that time I told that these methods are not on the slide, but just remember, right? So all and L when I write, so are all the values true? 4.5 is true, true is true, 10 is true, 5 plus 0 j is true, and string ram is true. So it will return true. Getting? And suppose if any of the value is true, then you want answer true, then use any. So any means it will just check at least one value is true. If in that list or a tuple, it is applicable for list, tuple, all iterable objects. So if any of the value is true, the result is true. You can check in the list at least one value is true, no? Therefore the result is true. Like if L contains 0.0, then I'm saying false, empty string 0, 0 plus 0 j, and if I say any and L, right? So is there at least one value which is true? No, all the values are false, therefore the result is false. Even if single value is true, like double quote ram I have written, okay, and now I am checking any, so it will give true because at least one is true in it. Clear? I hope you got it. Now suppose if you have a list and you want to traverse it along with their positions, like 3, 4, 8, 1, 7. Okay? And now when I want to traverse it, I want to traverse not only that element along with its position, 0, 3, 1, 4, 2, 8, then we use enumerate. It also returns you one enumerate object. So enumerate is also a iterable class. See, E equal to enumerate and L. Okay? So E equal to enumerate L when I write. So it is going to return you one enumerate object. Enumerate is also a class. It also comes under category iterable. If you check its type, it will show that it's an object of class enumerate. Class enumerate. And enumerate also come under which category? Iterable category. In which in that enumerable, you will have tuples like this 0, 3, okay, 1, 4, 2, 8, this way, the index and the value. So if you traverse this for x in E and you print x, you will see that each tuple will be there, and in the tuple index and the value will be there. See, Getting? I'm sure I have taken it. You don't remember. Right, no? It can be applicable for list of list also. List of list. Like if I'm writing this way. And you're enumerating for T in enumerate L. It will return the index along with that element. See, say 0th place there is this element, 1 place there is this element, 2th place. So it just gives you along with the index the element. Getting? Hope it is clear. Right? You don't at all remember some link also you
So
don't recall.
we have, I'm remembering that any and all, just not the enumerate one.
Any and all, and at that time only I told you enumerate.
Yeah, any and all was taken on the list part.
So after that only I took enumerate.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyways, no issues. Now if you have recalled it, it's okay. So enumerate just returns you the elements along with their index. Okay? Then there is one function called zip also, which combines more than one iterable. Like if you have multiple iterable and you want to combine corresponding values from each, like suppose you have one list, okay, containing some values like this, second list, and now you want to combine them corresponding 7 9 2 4 3 5 4 2. So you can by zip. Okay, now zip also returns one zip object. Okay, zip is also an enumerable category. Like if I write zip L1 L2, if you check the type of E, you'll see it is also an object of class zip. But zip is also an enumerable, zip is also an iterable object. It has combined these two and it has returned you one zip object. But zip object is also an iterable. And actually in that iterable, you'll have tuples like this. 7 9, one tuple, 2 4, another tuple, 3 5, another tuple, like this. So it will create pairs of corresponding elements of both the iterable. Not two iterable, you can zip many, clear, more than two also. So corresponding elements, tuple it forms, and then the set of that tuple will be a zip object, and this zip object you can traverse it again, like as I said, for T in zip, or you can write E also, L1 L2, and print T. So you'll see that each tuple will come 7 9 2 4 3 5 4 2, getting like this. Now suppose you want that tuple in two separate variable, so you can do it like here. You can unpack it in two variable, because this zip object is getting iterated, so it will every time keep returning you one tuple, and that tuple is getting unpacked in your x and y. So here if you're printing x and y, you will get that corresponding value, 7 and 9, 2 and 4, 3 and 5, 4 and 2. Clear? Okay, so I hope you're understanding that. So zip can be used to combine more than one iterable. So here I've used two iterable, it can be multiple also. And when it combines it, it creates one more iterable object containing such tuples. Okay? And the tuple contains the corresponding value from all that iterables. Like first value and first value of L1, L2, second and second of L2, third and third of L2. And then after that it will create tuples, and the tuples collection will be there, or group or collection. Okay? And that will be your zip object, and that zip object you can use in a for loop. Okay? Hope it is clear. right? All of you.
Yes.
Okay. Now next we have to move to string data type. String. So the data type string we have discussed in chapter 1 when we saw 5 basic data types like int, float, complex, boolean and string. So the data type string we know string is a sequence object, right? Or string is a sequence of characters, any sequence of characters which is enclosed in single quote or double quote. And if you want multi-line string, so there is a provision called 3 quote. I hope you know that. You people know that. If it is a single quoted string or it's a double quoted string, both are string only. It's an object of class string, right? X equal to hello if I'm writing, or X equal to single quote hello you're writing. Both are same and both are objects of class string, str, class str, right? And if you want to extend the string to more than one line, so there are 3 quote. So in this you can extend it to any number of line and 3 quote complete. Everything what is there in that 3 quoted string is preserved, like spaces, tabs and whatever new lines, everything is preserved as it is. Okay, now the main thing is about how to traverse that string. So it is exactly same like traversing your list or a tuple. So list or tuple, how we have traversed using a for loop. So same way you can traverse whom a string. Getting? If this is a string, so for t in x you can write and print t. So it will display each and every character. So from this string x, for every iteration, next character is copied here. So first H will come, then E, then L, then O, then space, then W, then O, and that we are just printing. So what I wanted to say is string can be traversed in exactly the same way as you traverse list or a tuple or a set or a dictionary using the standard for loop. So that similar for loop is applicable for strings also, because strings are also sequence object, means they are also like iterable object. You can iterate them using a for loop, and you can access also individual characters by using indexing, which we did it on list and tuple, right? So if x is hello, so you can write x of 0, so it will give you h. If I write x of 2, so it will give l. So which we apply on a tuple, the square bracket mechanism. The same thing is applicable on list also, and here also negative indexing is possible. Like if I write x of minus 2, so minus 1, minus 2. When we start from left direction, it starts from 0. From right, it starts with minus 1. So minus 1, minus 2. So who is at minus 2? L. Okay, so it will display L. What I want to say here is clear to you. The same indexing mechanism which you apply on list and on a tuple, the same indexing mechanism is applicable on strings also. Okay, positive index, negative index. Here also, if you want a part of the string, right? If you want some part of the string, you can use here also slice operator. The start index, colon, end index. Start, colon, end. I hope this slice operator concept on list we have discussed. Now don't say no. List and tuple. Yes or no, all of you?
Yes, we have taken this.
Yes, sir.
On list, on tuple, we have discussed this. Start, colon, end, right? And I told that the end is exclusive. During that time, Akshay asked also in one example, right? So that time,
Yes, sir.
then see, everything is recorded in my brain. even if I don't start the recorder, this recorder, okay, that computer recorder, my brain recording is always started. Getting? Whenever you ask questions, that questions are also recorded, because I know that whenever in the next batch someone asks me same question, I have to answer that. Getting? So x start colon end. So end is exclusive. So all that technique which you apply on a list and a tuple, same is applicable on string also. If you want a part of it, like suppose I'm writing 2:6, so it will start from second index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is exclusive, so it will stop at 5 only. Getting? See, LLO space it returns. Now here also, if you give start index but not end index, like I'm giving 2 colon, so it will start from 2 till the end of the string. Or I'm giving end index but not start, so I've given 6 but not start, so it will start from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 6 is exclusive, so that it will return. In this also negative indexing is possible, like I'm giving -6 colon -2, so it will start from -6, okay, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. So it will start from -6 and stop at -2. Actually -2 is this, but -2 is exclusive, so before that, so RLD exclamation. See, getting? And here also you can give the step value, like start, end and step. Okay, that step also can be negative. So this provision is applicable for string also. Like I'm writing 2:9:2 suppose, or 2:10:2. So it will start from 2 till 10 at a gap of 2. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. 10 is exclusive. Okay. Now in this whole string, it will display at a gap of 2. So that is L, then O, then W and then R. Getting? So only that characters are written. L, O, W, R. Step can be negative also. Like see, if I've given colon, so it will take entire string. And step -1, so it will take step -1. So it will give you reverse string. See, exclamation, 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 D, L, R, O, W space. Getting? So that way it is possible. So I hope this is quickly recalled, that the same concept of accessing a list or a tuple, the same concept is applicable on strings also. Okay? Now the main thing is we have to discuss about different built-in functions and different methods of string class. Means there are some built-in functions also which you can apply on string, and there are some string methods also, methods of class string. So that too we have to discuss. Okay, so that is the main topic of discussion. Now in short, the string data type is recalled. Then what is string is, I hope it is recalled to you, and it's an object of class str. How to access, you can use normal for loop which we were applying on list and tuples, and to access individual characters or some part of the string, then you can use the same technique. String object square bracket index, or string object square bracket start colon end, slice operator. Or you want the strings at fixed step, to start end step you can give. Okay? Now we are going to start with the methods of string, built-in functions and some method. In that, the first one we are going to see, that is capitalize. And before telling you all these methods, as many methods are there which are doing any transformation on your string, so it never does it on the original string, it returns a new string. Okay, please remember this point. Okay, Just 1 minute. Okay, coming back. Okay, so what I wanted to say is that this all the methods which do transformation on the string, okay, they will never do on the original string. They return a new copy because string is a immutable, like tuple. I hope you remember. Okay, so string is immutable, means it doesn't do the changes in itself, rather it creates a new string or new copy. Original string remains as it is. So that point first you remember before starting with all the methods. Okay, so all the methods are built-in function which are doing some transformation on your string. They will never do transformation on the original string. They will return you a copy string. Okay, new string is returned. The original string remains as it is because string is a immutable class. Same like Java. Like Java, in Java also there is a string class, and Java string class is also immutable. In Java there is a string buffer class which is mutable, but string class is immutable. Same technique here. Now we'll discuss all these methods quickly one by one. First is capitalize. Okay, so what it will do, it will convert the first character of the string to uppercase and the entire string into lowercase. Okay, so first character is just converted into upper and all the other characters are converted into lower. See, and here also I have clarified, returns a copy of the string, not the original string modified. Like those who have used string functions of C. Like in C also we have abundant of string function in string.h. Those string functions do change on the original string. Getting? So S dot capitalize returns a copy of the string in which the first letter is converted to uppercase and all other to lowercase. पण मग तुला लॉग इन नाही व्हायचं आहे का? नक्की
नाही झाली त्यांनाच
नक्की ना?
हो
नाहीतर मग परत टीचर बोंबले. ठीक आहे. See, so the first letter is converted to uppercase and all other to lowercase. Okay, I'll give you a demonstration. Few more are there that will quickly understand, and then I'll give you the result of. I'll show you the demonstration of all this. Then next is lower. Then we have upper. Okay, so all that are similar, which are used for converting the case of the string. So next is s dot lower. It will also return the copy of your original string, but in which all the letters are converted to lowercase. Those who are lower will remain lower, and those who are upper, they are also converted to lower. And those which are not letters, they are kept as it is. Like in your string, there are spaces, then punctuations, then digits, special symbols. They are kept as it is. And whatever the letters part is there, that is converted to lowercase. So returns a copy of the string in which all the characters are converted to lowercase. Now analogy, common sense, like lower is there, so upper is there. Upper will convert all the characters to uppercase, but not the original again, the copy string. So returns the copy of the string in which all the characters are converted to upper. Okay, then we have title. Now title and capitalize, somewhat confused. It will convert the first letter of each word to uppercase and all other characters to lowercase. Okay? So each and every word first letter is converted to upper and all other to lower. See, returns a copy of the string in which the first letter of each word is converted to upper and the rest characters into lower. Okay, then we have swap case. Now what the swap case does is it will toggle the cases. Toggle means, it will complement. Where the letter is uppercase, it will make lower, and where it is lowercase, it will make upper. Clear? So it will just toggle the case of each letter in your string and return the copy of that string. Okay, see. So swaps the cases. Swaps means, uppercase becomes lowercase and lowercase becomes uppercase. So swaps the cases of the characters in the string and returns the modified string. Now actually, like swap case, there is one more called case fold. Case fold. But that case fold and swap case, result is same, but they say internally the algorithm is different. Okay, the algorithm used by swap case is different and case fold is different, and when I read the documentation of it, they are saying that case fold is more efficient than swap case. Okay, so just remember it. Okay, after some time you'll say, no sir, you didn't taught us. Clear? So case fold and swap case, both result are same, but their internal algorithms are different, and case fold is assumed to be more efficient than swap case. But just remember, such function is also there. Okay? Now quickly about this all, phi I'll first tell you, and then we will proceed with the next functions. See, I'm creating one string. Okay, let us right, this is our string. Actually a clear doesn't work. If I do, to control L works, but not in this one. Okay, the console base is there, in that it works. Anyways, you know this. S is created. After that, I'll just display S dot capitalize. Original S is going to remain as it is. Now capitalize, what it will do, it will convert L to capital and everything to lowercase. See. Then if I write S dot lower, it will convert the entire string to lowercase. S dot upper, entire string to uppercase. And if I give S dot title, first letter of each word to upper and all to lowercase. So L becomes capital, remaining lower. U, L and P. See, let us learn Python. So L, U, L, P, that is becoming upper. And last is print S dot swap case. Okay? See, it has just toggled the case. Where it is lower, it has made upper. Where it is upper, it has made lower. Is it clear? Okay. So all these functions are clear to you. Methods are clear to you. These are all methods. Why they are methods? Because to invoke it, we need an object of string class. As we are needing object of string class to invoke it, it's a method, right? And when we don't need an object to call that function, so then it is a built-in function. Okay. So some built-in functions are there, like len. Len we have applied on other iterables also, like list, tuple. It will just return you the number of characters in the string. If I apply it on list, so it returns the number of elements in the list. I apply it on a tuple, number of elements in the tuple. Same way. So this is going to return the number of characters in your string. So returns the length of the string. That is the number of characters in the string. Print len of s. So whatever length is there, let us learn Python. That total is 19. Even space is also counted. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 and 6, 13, 14, 14 and 6, 20. So I did counting wrong. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, 13. 13 and 6 is 19. Clear? Then we have max. Okay. Now I'm sure max also we applied on list. Do you remember? Max, min, ln, sum. We have applied these functions on list. Do you remember or no? It returns the maximum element in the list, minimum. Then I used key also. Like I created a list of words, Tim, Bob, Bill, Jack, Ram and all. And then finding out the string with minimum length or maximum length. So I used key equal to length. No?
Yes.
Okay. Here max of str. What it does is it returns the character with maximum ASCII value. Okay, or Unicode you can say. So the character whose ASCII code is maximum, that will be returned. See, returns the maximum alphabetic character from the string. So in the ASCII chart, the character which is going to come very late, or the character whose ASCII value is highest, that character is returned. Okay, and minimum the opposite. It returns the character with minimum alphabetic order. Right, so returns the minimum alphabetic character from the string. Like if I take L equal to hello only. Okay, ls whatever you write, as it's a string, I'll store it in s. Print max of s. Okay, so it gives O because in this string alphabetically O is going to come late. Okay, actually that all are already in alphabetic order, no issues. Okay, like if you take string s equal to Ram and then print max of s, so it will return R because RAM, so R is having maximum value. And if you write print min of s, so it will return a character with minimum value, that is A it will return. Correct? So that way it works. Okay, now the next functions which we are going to see is the next category. They are all checking functions. They are going to check and going to return true or false. Okay, so all the next functions here carefully, they all are starting with is, means they are just used for checking whether the string is in uppercase or whether it is in lowercase or whether it is in title case. Okay, or whether it's a number or it's a space. So just to check whether that string belongs to that category or not. So for that these functions are there. Okay, all will start with is. I'll tell you one by one. First is al num, that is alpha numeric. Now who comes under alpha numeric category? So all the alphabets A to Z, uppercase, lowercase both, and digits. So it will check whether your string S, contains only alphanumeric characters. Whether the string S contains alphanumeric characters like 0 to 9 and A to F, uppercase, lowercase. Okay? Yes, so it will return true, otherwise it will return false. See, returns true if all characters in the string are alphanumeric, that is alphabets, digits, or both. In all other cases it will return false. Okay? See, S equal to, if I am writing hello with exclamation and print S dot is al num. So it is not, because it contains that exclamation also. So it returns false. if this exclamation is not there, okay, and I'm checking this, now it will return true. Okay, in this, if there are digits also, getting 1 2 3 will do, no problem. Okay, but as I said, like hello and world, if I write, they will say they are also all characters, but even space is there, so it returns false. Only what should be there in the string? Letters, uppercase, lowercase, and digits. Okay. Then comes is alpha, in which now the num part is deleted. Means this thing is not allowed, that is digits. Only allowed characters are alphabets, no digit. So is alpha will check whether the string S contains only, whether the string S contains only characters. Okay? No other characters allowed. So only A to Z, uppercase, lowercase. See, returns true if the string contains only alphabets, else false. Like in this case, see, hello 1 2 3 I am writing, and I am checking S dot is alpha. So it will return false. But if the string contains hello and I am checking is alpha, so true. Even hello world and is alpha, false, because it contains space. Okay? I hope it is clear to you, right, all of you? Then comes is decimal. Now little bit confusion between is decimal, is digit, and is numeric, because there are three such functions. Is decimal is there, is digit is also there, and is numeric is also there. You may say, then what is the difference? I'll come to it, don't worry. Now just check is decimal. It will just check only which part? Num part. And when is alpha and is decimal you combine, so it becomes is alpha num. So in this, string should contain only and only digits, nothing other than that. See, returns true if all the characters are digits from 0 to 9, else false. So S equal to 1 2 3 if I write, and here I am writing is decimal, it gives true. Okay, but suppose your S contains ABC 1 2 3 and I am checking S dot is decimal, it will give false. And even if your string contains 1 2 3 space 4 5 6 and you are checking, then also false, because it contains space. And is decimal only checks whether the string contains digits. Okay? Now we have is digit. Again, you'll be little bit confused. Okay, meaning wise it looks same, isn't it? Like if you take English meaning, literal meaning, so you think that is decimal also is checking 0 to 9, is digit also might be. So is digit will sure check 0 to 9. Okay, hear carefully. Yeah? It will sure check what? 0 to 9. Means is decimal is already considered in is digit. Is decimal is considered in is digit. Okay. Only the thing is, in your string, if there are some digits which are written in a superscript or subscript form, you understanding? Superscripts, subscripts also have their Unicodes, remember? Okay, like I have written 5 square. 5 square. So is that square written in a subscript? Sometimes we write na H2O. So 2 we write in a subscript, superscript. Getting? So if your string contains such superscript, subscript digits only, then also it will consider it as true. Otherwise false. Okay? Example I will show you. Unicode subscript 2 suppose I will take. See, it is actually 2082 in hexadecimal. Huh? Okay, subscript 2. Same way subscript 3 and all can be there. Like see, I'm writing S equal to phi and then backslash U 2082 I wrote. Okay, and now if you print and see this S, you'll see phi square. Sorry, phi subscript. Getting? Same way superscript also is there. Suppose superscript 2. So its Unicode is 00B2. Okay. Suppose in this example, I'm writing 00B2 and I'm printing S. It will show phi square. Okay. Can you see first of all that 2 in a subscript and 2 in a superscript? Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
You can see that superscript 2, subscript 2. Okay. Now suppose such string, when you give to is decimal, it will give false. If you give it to is decimal, it will give false, because is decimal only considers 0 to 9. It doesn't consider such digits, which are, these are also digit, but they are written in a subscript or superscript form. So such digits, who doesn't consider? Is decimal. Getting? But the same thing, if I give to is digit, it gives true, because is digit considers 0 to 9 also, as well as such digits, also digits only, but such digits which are written in superscript and subscript form. So see, it will give true. You understanding? See, is digit gives true, but is decimal gives false. Hope it is clear to you guys. So returns true if the string contains only digits, else false. But that only digits means superscript, subscripts, digits also. Okay, means not simple 0 to 9, superscript 9, subscript 9, superscript 8, subscript 8. Those digits are also allowed. See, exponents like 2 are also considered to be a digit in case of is digit. So are you people properly clear with the difference in is decimal and is digit? Whatever is the work of is decimal, is digit will do. But the work of is digit, is decimal doesn't do. Okay, I hope it is clear. Then comes is identifier. Any doubt, to please ask me. Next comes is identifier. Now you know the rule of identifier. So it will just check whether the whether the string is a valid identifier. Identifier means combination of letters, digit and underscore. And at the beginning, digit cannot come. So it will just check whether your string is combination of that thing. Okay. So example, if I write s equal to hello, and I'm checking whether it is identifier. Okay, doesn't matter. S dot is identifier. It will give true. Why? Because it contains letters. If I write ABC 1 2 3, okay, and you are checking whether it is identifier. Yes, it follows the rule. If I write underscore underscore 1 2 3, I'm checking. Does it give true? Yes, because it follows the rule. But if I write 5 pen and then I'm checking, it gives error because identifiers cannot start with digit. Gives false. Only digit also will give false because anyway it starts with digit. But if I write ABC 1 2 3 is done already. Yes, now nearly all examples I've shown. But suppose some other characters come, pen, pencil. Okay, obviously false because plus is not a valid symbol for identifier. Is it right? Does it give false? X. Okay, so is identifier is clear to you. So returns true if the string is a valid identifier, else it returns false. Okay, and identifier means what you know. It is a combination of letters, digit and underscore, and cannot start with digit. So that rule it should follow. Then is lower, very simple. It will just check whether the string characters are in lowercase. The string can contain any other character, but within that string as many letters are there, they all are in lowercase or not. Get it? So returns true if all the characters in the string are in lowercase and false otherwise. Okay, and for checking it will only consider the letters in your string. The other things are kept as it is, means they are not checked. Okay, so is lower is clear to you. The same way is upper is also there. It will check whether all the characters in your string are in uppercase. Here all the characters in your string are in lowercase. Okay, so returns true if all the characters in the string are in uppercase and false otherwise. Okay, then we have is title. It will check whether each and every word first letter is in uppercase in your string, whether the first letter of each word is in upper and all other are in lower. Okay, see, returns true if string is properly title case and false otherwise. Now what is title case? I hope you know it. First letter of each word in upper and all other are in upper and all other are in lower. Right? So these three are clear to you. Is lower, is upper and is title. Okay, see, S equal to let us learn Python if I am writing, and print S dot is lower. So is it lower? No. S is equal to complete lowercase string. Let us learn Python, and I'm checking S dot is lower, so it will give true. Getting? So same way, like if this is the string and I'm checking S dot is title, so as it is in a title case, it will give true. Clear? So is lower, is upper, is title. Is it clear to you guys?
Yes.
Okay. Then comes is numeric. Now again you will be confused. Okay, is numeric and is digit and is decimal. Right? So the work of is decimal is digit does. You understanding, no? Is decimal who does is digit. But is digit also checks superscript subscript. Now is numeric does the work of is digit. Means it will check whether S contains only digits 0 to 9, even the digits in superscript subscript form. But is numeric also considers fractions also. Fractions which you write in a vulgar fraction form. I hope you know it. We write 1 by 2, 3 by 4. We write 3/4, 5 3/4. Clear? See, I'll give you the Unicodes of that. See, 1/3, 1/2. You have. Okay. It will also have a Unicode. See, 2153 is the Unicode of 1/3. Suppose we'll take a string like this. S is equal to 5 backslash U. What was the Unicode? 2153. 2153. Suppose I print this, you'll get 5 1/3. See, are you able to see it? It displays 5 1/3. Yes or no? Same way for half and all. Now if I'm checking whether it is numeric, print s dot is numeric, it will give true. But the same thing if you try to check s dot is digit, it will give false. Okay, and s dot is decimal, so for sure false. Getting? So is decimal only checks 0 to 9. Is digit checks 0 to 9 along with that superscript subscript. And is numeric will check digits, superscript subscript, and along with that such vulgar fractions also. Okay. See. So returns true if all the characters in the string are numeric. Else it returns false. But in that numeric, who are also considered exponent and exponent like raise to or subscripts, and even such vulgar fractions 3/4, 1/3, okay, are also considered to be digits. Okay. So is it clear to you people between is decimal, is digit, and is numeric?
Yep.
Okay. Then coming to is printable. Now it will check whether the string contains all printable character. Printable means which you will be able to see on the monitor. Okay. So if your string contains any characters which are non-printable, it will return false. Okay, so non-printable like new line is coming, tab is coming, or just a space is there. So those are non-printable character. See, returns true if the string contains only printable character, false in all other cases. Non-printable characters are like carriage return, line feed. Okay, if someone has put a tab inside it, see, s is equal to hello world. Here suppose I put some tabs and I check print s dot is printable, it will give false because it contains that tabs. See, right? So now here everything is printable. You're getting, no? So tabs, new lines, carriage return, if all such thing come, it will give false. Okay? Then is space. So it will check whether the string contains only space characters. Now space characters are space. Basic space is the for sure. And then the other characters like carriage return, line feed, tabs, they also come under spaces. Okay, so returns true if the string contains only white space character, false in all other cases. Okay, see, s is equal to, and here I'm writing tab, then some spaces, then again a tab, then a new line, space, again tab, or carriage return. Okay, and I'm checking s dot is space. It will give true because each and every character in the string is space character. Tab is a space character, space is a space character, new line, carriage return, they all are space character. Now suppose inside this if some other letters also come, okay, and you check is space, so obviously it will give false because it contains some characters which are not space character. Okay, now till here it is clear to you. Done, all of you? Now the next category we have to see. Now all these were is functions. Is means they were checking functions. Okay, now we are going to see some more transformation functions. So first were related to cases, first group, like changing the case, so converting to capitalize, then lowercase, then uppercase, then title case, finding the length, finding minimum from it, then this all is function. Is alpha num, is alpha, is digit, is decimal, is digit, is numeric, then is lower, is upper, is title, is printable, is space. Okay, all these check functions are clear, and between this three also is clear, I hope. Decimal, digit and numeric. Okay, now coming to some other functions, like 3 functions at a time I'm going to tell you: L justify, R justify and center. Okay, these functions do padding in your string, means filling your string with some characters. So first what I'll do is their behavior I'll explain, and then we will discuss on the slides. Okay, see now, what this function does is s dot, let it be L justify or R justify, right, or center, whatever. It will take one length, maximum length, whatever is there, and it will take the fill character, whatever fill character you want to give. Okay, now it is sure going to return you a string with that length. See here, it will return what? A string with the given length, whatever length I have given. So that complete string will be of that 10 length. In that your string is stored. Okay, the string is, your string is stored in it, and the remaining places are filled with this fill character. Get it? Like a padding, when the mango basket comes, so in that mango basket, mangoes are kept, but besides that hay is kept. Hay means dry grass. So that dry grass is kept on all the sides. So it is done, packing of that mangoes is done with that. So it's called as padding. Get it? Any glass item comes with parcel, so they keep lot of paper besides it, and then inside that what will be there? Your article. So same way your string S is fitted in this, okay, from left side, and all the remaining places it will fill up with the fill character. Now if you don't give this fill character, it will use by default space. If fill character is not given, so by default space. So I hope you got it. So L justify, same way there is R justify. Okay, so it will keep the string on the right side and the remaining places on the left side. And there is center also. So it will place your string exactly at the center, and both side it will leave some space. Getting? So that is the behavior. See now. When you don't give the fill character, always remember it will take by default space. Okay? And if suppose the length is less and the string is bigger, no change, the string is returned as it is. Whatever your string is, it will return as it is. And remember, the string is, suppose I am taking string Ram. Original string is not modified, it returns a copy string. So suppose if I write s dot l just, okay, and length 10 I am giving. See. So is your string kept on the left side and the remaining places are space. So it is going to total return string of 10 length. L just 10 when I am writing. So it is sure going to return your string with 10 length. Clear? 10 length string is sure return. In that your string is fit on the left side, Ram. And remaining places it has filled with space. Okay. So if you want something else, you can give the fill character. Suppose here I am giving star. See. So it is sure going to return your string with length 10. String with length 10 is returned, in which your string is fit. Now your string is Ram, so that is fitted. And the remaining places it has filled with star. Get it? Okay. So I hope you got it. Now suppose your string is bigger and the length is smaller. No effect, it returns the string as it is. Clear? But justification has taken place from which side? Left side. As it is L justify, so it will align from which side? Left side. Same thing you can do it for R just. See, here if I write R justify. So in this case also the string return is of 10 length only. Okay. Right side it will place Ram. So remaining place it will leave blank. See. Is it returning a string with 10 length? Okay. And on the right side your string is placed and all the remaining places are filled with space because you didn't give fill character. And suppose if you give fill character R justify 10 star, so it will justify from the right side. Ram will be placed on the right side and remaining places will be filled with star. See. Okay. Are stars placed on the right side? Okay. And same way, now here also if the length is lesser, no effect, it will return the entire string. And same way there is center also, 10 and star. Okay. Now how many other remaining places? Total length is 10. Your string S is Ram, which is going to take 3 character. So remaining 7 places are there. So it will divide it. Okay. And dividing, the lesser will come on the left side and the greater on the right side. See. Total how many characters are there? 10. Okay. But your string contains only 3. That is Ram. So how many are remaining from the length? 7 characters. So 7 are divided not in 3.5, 3.5. 7 is divided as 3 and 4. 3 and 4. So 3 comes one side, 4 comes right side. If the length is 11, so what is the remaining character? 11 minus 3 is 8. So both side 4, 4. See, if it is 12, so total is 3. So remaining is 9. So 9 is divided into 4 and 5. See, one side 4, another side 5. Is it clear to you? So that way center align. Okay? See. So all 3 at a time only I am telling, just remember. So returns the string which is justified to the left, right or centered. Then the length is equal to the width provided as a parameter, means whatever string it returns. Okay. First of all, it returns a string which is justified on the left side or right side or center side. But whatever string it returns after doing appropriate transformation, the string which it returns will be sure of this width length. And whatever the spaces were remaining in the string, because the width may be larger and the string may be smaller, so all the remaining places on both the side, left side and the right side, okay, they are filled with space if you don't give fill character. And if you give fill character, it will use that fill character. If you give fill character, it will fill that remaining spaces with fill character. And if you don't give it, so by default it uses space. See. So the length is equal to the width provided as a parameter and the padding is done with fill char. The default value for fill char is space. Okay. And the original string is returned if width is less than the length. So if you give the length of the string bigger and the length of the string is lesser than this width, or in short this width is less than the length, then in that case what is going to happen? Okay, what it will do, it will return the entire string as it is. See, S equal to hello is there, and I'm writing L justify. Okay, and length I'm giving 3. So as the length is 3 but the string is bigger, so it will return the entire string as it is. Getting? No effect will be there on your string. Okay, see, the original string is returned if width is less than the length of the string. Okay, so hope these 3 functions are clear to you.
Yes.
Okay, then coming to next function. Now next are also similar in group, they are okay, they are to be used in group, like as these 3 are there in a group, ljust, rjust and center. Same way we have another function like lstrip, rstrip and strip. Okay, so strip means deleting, and even again here it is not going to delete it from the original, it will return a copy. Okay, see, now if you are using s dot lstrip, okay, now strip characters you can pass, but if you don't pass, so it will take space characters. So in your s, from left side till there are space characters, it will delete, and the moment it gets anything non-space character, space characters means, you know, /n, then only space, tab, carriage return, all these come under which category? Even null character, that all come under space character. So from the left side in your string, whatever your string is, clear? So in that string from the left side till it is getting space characters, it will delete them, truncate them, strip them, and the moment it gets a non-space, it will stop there, and from there till the remaining string is returned. You understanding or no? So from the left side, it's going to delete or truncate or remove all the characters which are space character, and the moment it gets a non-space character, it will stop, and from there onwards the whole remaining string it returns. Getting? Same is the case for rstrip. Okay? And same is the case for strip. Now in case of rstrip, it will go on deleting the characters from the right side. But which characters it will delete from the right side? Those which are space character. And the moment from right side it gets a non-space character, it will stop, and from there onwards the entire string it returns. Getting? Okay? So I hope you got it. That is rstrip. And what does strip do? It will try to delete the space characters from both sides. Getting? From left side also, from right side. From left side it will keep truncating till it gets a space. When it gets non-space, it stops. From, this is left side, right side also, till it gets a space character, it will delete, and non-space it will stop, and then this remaining string is returned to us. Okay? Getting? And suppose if you give the strip characters, so it will check those characters. Like suppose the strip characters I have given as AB. So in your string from left direction, okay, from left direction till it is getting anything from AB, it will truncate, and the moment it gets anything other than AB, it will stop. Okay, like I have given A, then B, then A, and then I get D, and after that A, B, A, whatever is there. But from left side, does it get A which is present in this set? Yes. Trim, 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 trim. Is D present in this? No. To stop. And from the place where it is stopped, it will return the whole string. Clear? Okay. See, I take one example. I'll put some space, then tabs, then space, then new line, then space, and then we will come to Ram. In between also you can have spaces, but that are not considered. Sita, again here space, new line. Okay, and now I'm writing s dot l strip. Characters of stripping, if you don't give, so it takes by default space. So now space character. So now from left direction, this space, space, tab, tab, space, space, new line, space, all are deleted. And the moment it gets R, which is a non-space, it will stop. And from here onwards, this whole remaining string it will return. See. Can you observe the result? Same way if I write L dot R strip, so it will delete from right side. Is this a space character? New line, tab, space, new line, space. All these are space, so delete. And the moment it gets something which is not from this, it gets A. Okay, which is not from space character, it will stop here and return this whole string. Getting? See. And if you write s dot strip, so it will do it from both direction, from left direction also till here, and from right direction also till here. Getting? So now it will return Ram Sita with a space in between. Okay, and you can give strip characters as well. Like see, I'm writing A B A B, and then D D E A B. Right? And suppose I'm writing s dot l strip, and the strip characters I'm giving as A B. So it will keep stripping till it gets A B. So till it is getting A B, it will strip. A B means A or B, any of these strip characters. So as A is present here, so it will delete A present, B present, A present, A present, B present, D not. Stop here, and from here the whole remaining string. See. Same if I give for R strip. So it will stop at right side. A, B, A, B, A, E. Now E is not present in AB, it will stop at E, and from there the whole string. And if I do it for strip, so on the both side, A, B, delete. And the moment it gets D, which is not from this, it will stop here. And same way from E, till E. See. So it is stripping A, B. And the moment it gets D, which is not in AB, it will stop. And same way from the right direction at E, it stops from right. Okay? So hope this all three are clear to you, right? All of you? Just give me confirmation.
Yes.
Okay, see. L strip, which strip characters, which characters to strip you can pass to it. So removes all the leading means beginning characters or white spaces from the string. Means when you don't give this characters, then it will by default take white spaces. And if you have given characters, so it will delete only those characters from the beginning. R strip will delete the trailing, okay, or ending characters or white spaces. So removes all the trailing, that is ending characters or white spaces. And last is strip. So it will delete the characters or white spaces from both the direction. Okay? Removes both the leading as well as trailing characters or white spaces. Okay? I hope you got it. Right? Now, there are few more functions which we'll be discussing in the next session. But I hope justify three functions, ljust, rjust, and center, and stripping three functions. That functions means methods, lstrip, rstrip, and strip, which is same like in Java. In Java also we have similar, only the names are ltrim, rtrim, and trim. There the method names are ltrim, rtrim, and trim. Here the methods are lstrip, rstrip, and strip. Getting? So these are clear. Now few more methods are remaining, like searching methods are there. So that we'll be discussing. Okay, and then we'll be starting with the last topic called regular expression. Regular expression is also an important topic of this chapter. Okay, so that we'll be doing in the next session.